Hey everyone, it's Raj from 3CB. The Lakers lost Game 5 to Memphis in Memphis, which isn't that big of a surprise considering how good Memphis is at home and the fact that the Lakers probably felt like they had a game in their back pocket considering they're up 3-1 and are now going home for Game 6. For some perspective, the Warriors last season lost Game 5 in Memphis by 39 and then won Game 6. So, these things happen. However, there were some key lessons and learnings that the Lakers can take from Game 5 and apply to Game 6. I'm going to go through 3 of them. The first 2 are related to defensive adjustments that we saw, specifically in the second half. So, number 1, this is all related to coverage of Desmond Bane off the ball. Bane struggled early on in the series, and a lot of times what you saw was when he was coming off pin downs or flares is that he was flattening off of those, which allowed his defender, oftentimes Austin Reeves, to still contest his jump shot. However, as the series went on, specifically in Game 4, he now started curling off those actions and getting into the paint where he's a very proficient player. And part of the issue there is that the Lakers were playing, as they always do, in a drop coverage with AD, so Bane was able to get into that exposed pocket. However, in the second half of Game 5, they changed that coverage now where AD was stepping up more aggressively to get into that space, which now forces Bane to throw the ball over him or now have to dribble and flatten out, which then disrupts that momentum. And then secondly, on Bane, when they're running Oklahoma actions for him, setting those screens off the ball for him to flare up, Reeves did a much better job of recognizing that, regardless of whether it was off stagger screens, typical double screens, and he was top locking, playing on the top side of Bane to take that away and force Memphis to go into other actions. Those 2 things were a major reason why the Lakers were able to stymie Memphis for most of that third quarter. Second adjustment is that we've seen Memphis use something called a stack action, where you have the big coming up and setting a screen for the ball handler, but then they have a guard in the paint now setting a screen on the Lakers big, and then that guard then moves out to the perimeter. And we saw this actually in Game 5, where in the first half, Tyus Jones got a very, very good look and hit a 3 off of it. However, in the second half, we saw multiple examples where Reeves and AD were able to instantly recognize that action and negate it. And some might be wondering why you have Reeves and AD in the game late in a blowout. And part of that is that you still want to give your players live ball reps versus this team in order to prepare them better for Game 6 and replicate that game action and that game recognition. So both of these things bode well for Game 6. Thirdly, and in my opinion, this was probably the main reason why the Lakers lost Game 5, were their rotations with their 3-guard lineups. The 3-guard lineup was actually a net positive in Game 4, but in Game 5, it was overall a minus 31. I can understand why Coach Ham went to it initially coming off Game 4, but it got killed by minus 9 in that first half, and then he went back to it again in the second half. You compare that to the minutes where Wenyen was playing. He played more minutes in Game 5, which is hopefully another indicator that he'll play more in Game 6, along with the information that we had from Game 5 on the small ball lineup. The Wenyen minutes were only a minus 3, so it shows you the importance of having that big out there. So those 3 adjustments can be very, very effectively applied and used for Game 6. And then in general, I think you're going to see the team come out with a different level of focus and effort and concentration, more similar to Game 3. And then of course, LeBron, who self-admittedly said he played like shit, quote unquote, will come out with a different level of effort and energy as well. It certainly looked like he was fatigued from his Game 4 minutes where he played 45 And naturally so, for a player who takes on that much burden and has that many minutes on his body.